What's up, guys? So I've recently got back into Vermintide, and I love this game. And a lot of times I try to get more friends into this game, and the first thing we do is we come to the end and we kind of have the 5-minute spiel about how do you play Vermintide. So I thought that I would make a video to kind of streamline that process, and hopefully this can be a helpful resource to somebody out there. If not, you know, I'll just use it and it'll be fine. So to start out, you're going to start out in your inn. Now this is an instance. This is your own private instance. Every time you turn on the game, you're going to come in here. Every time you come back from a mission, you're going to come in here. Okay, now an inn is where if you're in a party with people, they will also spawn in here. They will spawn in those other rooms up there. And you can join your friends in. So if you go to your friends, you know, I can either join their games or I could join their inn if they were in their inn. And I can also invite them to join my inn. So that's kind of how the inn works. The inn has lots of useful goodies. You have the innkeeper there. And as you save Uberstrike, you will unlock these various things that do different stuff, which is covered in other videos. So first thing you want to do is check out your settings. You know, get all that stuff right, however you want it. One useful thing to know for gameplay, upload speed, you want that to be as high as you can get it. And then player outlines, always on, very useful so that you can always see your teammates, especially when you don't know the games. For key bindings, it's all pretty obvious. You will want to use dodge, that's important, and you will want to use ping. Everything else is, I mean, you know, of pretty obvious importance. So, another thing about settings is there is a mod. Is a quality of life mod. I have it. I use it. If you notice something different about my screen, that's probably it. Like this HUD, for example. It is a completely cheat-free mod, but it's going to give you a lot of extra functionality. One of which being you push tab and you can see the trinkets and stuff that your teammates have equipped. Super useful stuff, but no cheats. Okay, nothing unfair. Nothing that gives you an edge in any way. Just useful, handy things. So we will talk about items now, because that's kind of, well, lots of people have questions about it. And come over here to inventory. You have 4 different types of items. You have trinkets, which you will unlock over time. You have ranged, melee, and hat. Number one thing, get a good hat. Okay, you might have a few of these hats. Some are obviously better than others. Make sure you have a good hat. Literally the most important thing. This is Vermintide. Next thing is your weapons. Pick whatever you like. You could look up, if you wanted to know, whatever the flavor of the month meta traits are and blah blah blah. Pick what you enjoy in terms of weapons. That's my advice. And then get traits that are what you like. And you know, definitely look up and see, you know, what other people are using, but don't pick something just because it's popular. Okay, pick something because you think it's fun. That's my advice. Speaking of weapons, there are weapons come in different rarities. There is white, green, blue, orange, red. As you go up in rarities, you get access to more traits which you can unlock, which give you different boosties, allow your weapons to do different things. Oranges and reds are unique weapons. Once you get one red, that is it. There is no other vanquisher. This is the one red two-handed sword, for example. There is no other, whereas if I look at my thing, I have like 3 two-handed swords. Okay, so weapons do more damage as they go up in different rarities. Sometimes it matters, sometimes it doesn't. Generally, higher rarity is better, but again, even, you know, I would rather play with a blue that I liked than an orange that I didn't like. I would rather play with a green that I liked than an orange that I didn't like. But that's my opinion. Definitely try them out, though. There are about 55 weapons in this game. There's a huge amount of depth there, and there's probably 30, maybe 40. I really don't know. I've never counted how many traits there are. There's an enormous amount of traits, an enormous amount of depth in this game. It's fantastic. So, now, when you actually want to go to play a game, you'll come here to select mission. If you want to host, you'll go to Uberstrike, and then you can play these missions of various difficulties. I recommend that you play, that you work your way up to Nightmare. Nightmare is where the majority of the player base plays, because it offers you the best rewards for difficulty. Cataclysm is a lot more challenging than Nightmare, and generally people play that after. Once they've really truly mastered Nightmare, is then when you want to start getting into Cataclysm. I would recommend getting out of hard as soon as you can. Some people say rush Cataclysm, some people say stay in hard, you know, some people say rush Nightmare. You know, I'm not the best player. I'm just some guy on the internet. You know, do whatever you enjoy. But I will say that the majority of the player base plays on Nightmare. You will always be able to find a game on Nightmare no matter what. Speaking of finding a game, if you don't want to host, if you want to join someone else's game, you can click L. If you host with no other players, the bots will fill out the remaining 4 slots in the team. You can click private to force it to be only bots or friends. Now, if you want to join another party that's already in session, maybe you don't have good internet, you can push L. L will bring up your lobby browser. You have all kinds of filter options here. This is a weekend, so there are tons of people playing, which is awesome. And if we sort by difficulty, one thing you may notice is that Nightmare and Cataclysm games tend to fill up very quickly. Whereas hard, easy, normal, a lot of these most of the time are just 1 out of 4. I'm honestly very surprised at how full they are this night because it's the weekend. But usually people don't join these games. People join Nightmare and Cataclysm. That's why I recommend that you want to get up there. Also, I think that, you know, the difficulty is really optimized for that level of play, especially once you start getting your orange weapons and stuff. Now, friends. This is a co-op game, so make friends, be nice, get a mic, and be nice to people. Now, if you want to add someone to your friends list, which is something I recommend doing, I probably have like 30 or 40 friends or whatever, and I don't even add that many people. You push tab, right click, it's going to bring up a little cursor. You will see there'll be a button here to link to their Steam profile. You can click that and add them from friends there. There's other ways to do it, that's the way I tend to do it. And be personable, meet new people. This is a co-op game. And now I will spend the rest of this time talking about combat for a couple minutes. The combat is fantastic. It's accessible, but it still has a lot of depth. There are 6 basic actions that you can do. 3 attacks and 3 defenses. The attacks are pretty straightforward. Light attack, heavy attack. Heavy attack is useful mostly against storm vermin. Every weapon's attack pattern is a little bit different, so you just have to play and kind of see how it works, and then ranged attack. And every ranged weapon is a little bit different. Play, see what you like. Now for defenses, you have block is your first kind of defense. And what you'll notice is that the whole defensive mechanic is kind of centered around this idea of stamina. You'll see these shields that come up. That's how many times I can block a rat. But every action I do costs shields, so I only have, this weapon only has 3 shields. Some have more, some have less. And so that means I can't just sit and block rats for forever. I can't just sit in a corner and block for forever. Eventually they're going to overwhelm me and I'll die. But this is still your bread and butter, is block. Whenever in doubt, block. If you have to open a chest, block. If you have to revive another player, block. If you have to open a door, block. If you have to just stand around and do anything, block. Always block. Because block is omnidirectional. So that means there could be a rat. Let's suppose there's a rat on the stairs right here. I can block, and I will block that rat's hit even though he's behind me. I may not even know he's there. I'll still block it. Block is great. However, one thing you will notice about block is, first off, you can't block an infinite number of rats, and second off, see, I kind of slow down. Now, different weapons slow down different amounts when they block. One-handed weapons slow down a lot less than two-handed weapons. Excuse me, but it is something to be aware of. You can't, you know, if I just wanted to walk and block, you know, that it would take me quite a while to walk across the inn, for example. It could be very dangerous. Next thing, so let's say you do want to walk somewhere, you know, if I want to get over there, you know, I couldn't just block, but maybe I could start pushing. Now, pushing is self-explanatory. You push rats away from you, but it costs shields, so you can't just push. If you just do 3 pushes, oh no. Now you're out of options. What are you going to do? You can't block rats anymore. So it's kind of, you know, it's like a season. You might do a push, you know, and then move a little bit. And then push another rat and move a little bit. Push is also omnidirectional, just like block is. So if there's a rat on the stairs and I push, I will push him away from me. So it's useful, but it's not something that you really rely on. Not as much as block. Block is kind of your bread and butter. Push is a little bit more of like seasoning. Another thing is whenever you're carrying an item, you can also push. So there'll be times in the game where you have to carry barrels and sacks. You can pick up the sack and then immediately push, and that's just you know, something you can do to kind of avoid yourself from taking damage. A little bit of defenses that you have when you're carrying barrels and sacks. and stuff like that. And then the last defensive option is dodge. Dodge is very useful because while you're dodging, you tend to not get hit as long as you have the space to dodge. If you dodge into a wall, you will get hit. I would be taking every hit. I wouldn't be dodging anything because I'm still standing still. But if I'm out in the open, if you time your dodge right, you can dodge the rat's attacks. It's very intuitive. One thing about dodge, though, is you can't dodge for forever. Most weapons, you can only dodge 3 times. So you go 1, 2, 3, and then you start not really making any progress anymore. That's called efficient dodge count. Most weapons, you can only do 3 dodges before you start getting these diminishing returns. You have to wait a second for your dodge to kind of recharge. The other thing is when you're dodging, you will not make any stamina. So you'll see my stamina hasn't recharged and I'm not dodging. So if there were rats attacking me, I would certainly be dead right there after doing that. But you give it you just give it a couple seconds and your stamina recharges. So the depth in this game is it's about how you add all these things together, because you can't do just one. You have to add them all together. So a good flow of combat, let me get a one-hander, might be something like attack, attack, block, attack, attack, block, push, attack, attack, dodge, you know. It's all about how you might push, you know, how you might add all these things together. And that's where a lot of the real depth in this game comes in. And there's people that have played for thousands of hours that are still learning, that are still developing. This is a fantastic game. I really love it, and I hope you love it too. And I hope this video was helpful for people who are just looking for, you know, the most absolute basic thing about Vermintide. I think I tried to cover a lot of whatever the most commonly asked questions are. I'm sure there's a lot more that if you have questions you can ask, I can answer, other people can answer, but be personable, you know, be nice, you know, talk to people in chat, which, you know, enter blah blah blah. Talk to people in chat, be nice, be personable, make friends, and enjoy Vermintide. Most of all, though, the most important thing is you gotta look cool, so make sure you get some good hats, okay, people? Also, Sienna is clearly the hottest. And yeah, I hope that was helpful. Oh, I forgot to mention the heroes. The heroes are all the exact same. Okay, nobody's like overpowered, nobody's underpowered. They're all equally viable. They all have the same health. They all run the same speed. The only difference is the dwarf is short and Sienna's hot. So I hope that was helpful, and I hope you guys enjoy Vermintide.